Hello, I am Erica Bettencourt. In this coaching demo, I focus on using data to inform instructional decision making. We look at an exit ticket that includes two questions. The first one is a DOK1 level question, and the second one is a DOK2 level question. For the demo, we discuss misconceptions that are observed in the exit ticket and how to go about clarifying them before the next lesson. In real life, I use exit tickets to identify misconceptions to make small groups for intervention, choosing do now questions for the lesson of the day, and deciding if a reteach is needed. Lastly, I keep track of daily exit ticket data to measure growth, compare, and make predictions to the IA and MAP test scores.
And it was so great to see you guys in action today in class. So today we'll be using your exit ticket to ensure that you're responding to data. Why do you think that's important?
I think it's important so we can know what the students actually know. Because, in class we get all excited. We're not sure. They can look like they get it, but until we see it, we don't know.
Right. Yeah, I agree with what Ms. Morton said there.
So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to look at today's exit ticket. So looking at this data, what stands out to you?
Question number one looks great. 83%. I think our students are really getting it.
Yeah, and I think on the opposite end, question number two, the students didn't do so well on, kind of has the opposite problem. There was definitely an issue there.
Right. And what do you think students did better on question number one than question number two?
I mean, it looks like one is easier.
Yeah, I think question number one's just multiple choice and it's like really straightforward. But question number two kind of wants the kids to explain. And so it's a little bit harder.
Yeah, I agree with you. Question number one is a DOK level one question, and question number two is a DOK level two. So great. Today's goal is to use your exit ticket data to inform your lesson plan progress. We will do this by identifying the misconceptions, creating a plan, and then to execute. So I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to look at question number two. And I would like you guys to write down some misconceptions you see in the students' responses. Where did the students make mistakes? What type of mistakes did you see? What misconceptions?
One thing I noticed was I think students think positive number has to be bigger because that's maybe why they put 7.5.
That's a good one. I think this, some of them are flipping their answer or flipping the question. Maybe they don't quite understand it. And I saw that some students were having trouble with the denominators, being that the numbers are fractions.
Right.
Yeah, kids never understand fractions.
In addition, students didn't use the definition of absolute value to explain their in their answers. Um, we mentioned a few misconceptions. Which one is the high? Which one has the highest leverage misconception that we can address right away?
Well, since the question is really asking about absolute value, not a lot of them used the definition. So I said that one would be the highest leverage.
Okay. And what are your thoughts, Ms. Ricardo?
Yeah, I think that this question is about absolute value, and I would want kids to put something about like distance from zero, and that's what absolute value means. And so I think that's the part that's missing.
Okay. So what are some next steps you could take to clarify some of these misconceptions in tomorrow's class?
Yeah, we can maybe do an activity in class that, allows students to engage with the concept.
Okay. So what type of activities do you guys have in mind?
Um, I just was looking through the lesson for tomorrow, and I found an activity that we could probably use. Maybe we can move it to the front of class and reiterate this before we move forward. Let me see if I can show it to you here.
Great. That's a good idea. Let's look at your lesson plan for tomorrow and see where we can apply it.
Okay, hang on, let me share my screen. So I was thinking about this activity, maybe instead of having students do this as independent practice with partners, I'll instead do a model where I'll say to students something like, one of my inequality statements would be the absolute value of -8 is greater than 4 because -8 is 8 units away from 0. And so absolute value means how far from 0. So the absolute value of -8 is 8 and 4 is 4. And that maybe will address that misconception.
How will you know that the students will understand it?
Maybe we can reassess them in the exit ticket and see if there's a new, like, with the explanation, if it gets better, or maybe we can walk around and see their answers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like the activity says the other partners to write a sentence in words with the same meaning using these phrases. Maybe we add a phrase and tell students like they always have to talk about, if they use an absolute value, they have to talk about distance. Like distance is also one of the important words they use.
Okay, great. So let's take a few minutes so we can practice doing the activity, how we're going to model it for the students. So I'll put up the timer. Let's take about 10 minutes to practice. Go. Okay, I can't wait to see this implemented in tomorrow's lesson. Before you guys go, can you tell me what are your biggest takeaways from this process?
For me, I think what's really good is, you know, the identifying the misconception thing, because sometimes it's hard to like figure out how to plan for things. But I think that really helps me out. Figure out what they don't know and then just go from there.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's just I love that we like found the misconception and we're fixing it tomorrow. I think that I'm really taking away like this response to data being something that should happen quickly. Like we address it as soon as it happens. And so I'm definitely gonna make sure I'm trying to do that regularly.
Great, thank you. So I'll see you guys tomorrow in class.
Thank you.
Thank you.